Well, greetings from the great state of Texas, and Merry Christmas, y'all. On behalf of the Afterburners Club in 6191 in Tarrant County, Texas, welcome to the 23rd hour of the Global Toastmasters meeting as we celebrate holiday traditions all around the world. I officially accept this gavel from our friends in Vancouver, Canada. I love our Northern Cowboys, but they sure sent a lot of cold weather down to us today. And we hope that doesn't get handed over to Hawaii after this meeting. To all of my friends in Vancouver, I thoroughly enjoyed the 2 hours with my Canadian friends, especially the singing and the fun games. It was a great feeling to be a part of all of you. And to all of the Toastmasters around the world, we all are united in our core values of respect, integrity, service, and leadership. And it's a fun tradition to celebrate all of this, which really makes it truly the most wonderful time of the year. And now we're going to focus on those holiday traditions that come deep from the heart of Texans, the Afterburners Toastmasters Club. I would like to turn this over to our Sergeant at Arms, Jock Daniels, who will officially open the meeting for the Afterburners Club. Please welcome Jock Daniels.
Welcome. You?
Hello, everyone, and a Merry Christmas from Fort Worth, Texas. This is so exciting. I'm so excited to see everyone. And I would like to call this meeting to order at 3:57 p.m. on December 13th, 2020. Have fun, everyone.
Thank you, Jock. And now we want to open it to our Toastmaster, Mr. Furzy Gotuwako. Furzy.
Thank you, Madam President. Howdy, y'all, and welcome to Texas. It's a very fun thing for me to be coming in after Vancouver has signed off. I myself used to live in Vancouver until I got tired of the cold and came down to Texas. I wasn't born in Texas, but I got here as fast as I could. And this being the season, as everybody else, I've decided to don a little bit of a party hat. It's not quite as lovely as our President Laura's hat. That's a great hat, Laura. But it's a great hat because every time I come up with a good idea or a good line to say, it does this. Thank you, lights. I have my very own lighting operator back there, and they're doing the lights for me. Welcome to the world. Thank you for joining Afterburners. We want to thank our friends in Hawaii. Thank you for giving us your first hour. It is a great honor for us to share the United States slot in this big event. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. We hope to make you proud. We have a fantastic hour planned for Texas. First, we have a few opportunities and roll takers. The timer roll will be carried out by immediate past president of Afterburners, Miss Setma Maddox. Toastmaster Setma, tell us about your opportunity this evening.
Thank you. Tonight that I will be doing whoever's doing presentations are going to get their 5 to 7 minutes. Will get a green card at 5, a yellow card at 6, and a red card at 7. And we are going to ask them to stop as soon as they can after 7 so that we can continue and be on time. We are also going to do a lot of table topics tonight. So table topics is 1 to 2 minutes. So you're going to get green card at 1, yellow card at 1:30, and a red card at 2. Again, please stop whenever you see the red card as quickly as possible. Thank you so very much. And our evaluators are going to be evaluating our speakers. They will get 2 to 3 minutes. Again, green at 2, yellow at 2.5, and red at red at 3. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Mr.
Toastmaster.
Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. We will be foregoing the counter role, and we will be foregoing the grammarian role. But I've come up with a word for the day. Spirit.
Oh,
Spirit of the season. And I'm kind of riding the coattails on our president, Laura Stewart, who has a fun theme ready to go for our table topics. But spirit, that we have to bring the proper spirit to this. And I know that one person who's going to bring a great spirit to this meeting is going to be our listener. Our listener. And Afterburners, we have a listener role, and playing that role, taking over that opportunity this afternoon here in Texas, is going to be Toastmaster Arthi. Toastmaster Arthi, would you please tell us about your opportunity as listener?
Thank you, Farzy. One of the most sincere form of respect is actually listening to what another has to say. So today, as your listener, I will be testing your listening skills by quizzing you at the end of the meeting. So please keep your ears sharp. Thank you.
Excellent. We have two fantastic speakers this afternoon here from Afterburners, deep in the heart of Fort Worth, Texas. Our first speaker is going to be Toastmaster Jim Hummel. Toastmaster Jim Hummel. And the title of his speech is Compassion. Jim, are you there, sir?
Yes, I am here.
Fantastic. Have you found the timer on your screen?
Yes, I see the timer.
Brilliant. He can see the color green. That's good, because he's not very good at that when he's driving. Sorry, Jim. Sorry. My fault. But that is why I always drive behind you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Jim Hummel, Compassion. Compassion, Jim Hummel.
First, I need to make a confession. When I was a young lad, I was in a place, they call it a fun house or a spook house. And they had things, it was dark inside, and they had things that would jump out and scare you. And I remember there was a room that was on quite a slant, and there were metal bars that you had to hold on to get through that room. Ahead of me was a young man, a child like I was, and he lost his footing and he ran down that crooked room and hit his face on the metal bar. And when I saw him happen, my buddies and I, we would carry flashlights so we would see what was in there and we wouldn't be so scared. But this young lad hit his face on a metal bar, and there was blood and crying. And I was so petrified, I ran away. And for that, I always remember that there was no compassion, no respect, no call to duty. Now, many years after that, I was sent to South Korea. It was a military duty, and I was in my early 20s. At that time, South Korea was what we would call a third world country. It was very poor, very poor. And every time I could get away from the military post, which was not my favorite place at all, I found some Americans in the capital city there of Seoul, Korea. In one family, the man, the husband of the family, was in charge of distribution of food, medical supplies to the people in the community and around them. And very close to that house, to their house, was a children's receiving hospital. It was a very small and shabby building. And one morning, the wife would go to, every morning she would go to that hospital, that children's hospital, and do what she could for the children. Usually it was just to pick them up and talk to them and hold them. One morning when she went over there on the concrete outside the hospital, wrapped in a blanket and in an old cardboard box was an infant. And she was captured and captivated by that infant. The next day she had two children of her own, a 5 and a 6-year-old. And she took them over to the hospital. It was only about 2 blocks away from their house. When the little girls saw that infant, and they described the infant to me, the back of her head was flat because the baby had not been picked up. Its eyes were sunken, the hair was matte. It didn't have enough energy to cry. Those little girls, 5 and 6 years of age, saw that baby and they said, "Oh, Mommy, can't we please bring that baby home?" And Mama said, "We have 4 children in our house. I don't think we would have room for another one." Week by week, day by day, they would go to see that little infant. And every time their father would come home, those girls would say, "Oh, Daddy, can't we please bring that little baby home?" Sorry, Father would say, 4 children is all we can. After several weeks, the father said to the girls, "You realize if we bring that baby home, you're going to have to change the diapers. You're going to have to bathe the baby. You're going to have to take care of that little baby." Oh, the girls could not have been more thrilled than that final resignation of the father. That little baby came home and I saw it. Not too long after it was at the hospital, the skin still had scabs, but the hair was now combed and brushed and washed. And week by week, for about a year, when I could get an opportunity to visit that family, I saw the girls with that child. I saw the mother with that child. I saw the father with that child. And it was love. And now the back of the head was beginning to become round. The eyes were bright and dark brown. The hair was beautiful. That child was loved back to life. That is when I recognized about compassion. Compassion flowed. It emerged from those children. It swallowed up in love a child that would have died had it not been for the compassion of the people that found it on the concrete of that little hospital. That compassion was contagious, and I caught it, and I loved it. And I am so grateful for that experience. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. May compassion live in your hearts. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jim Hummel. What an incredibly inspirational speech. Compassion. Thank you, Jim. We can always count on you to bring heart to any speaking engagement. We appreciate you, Jim. Our second speaker is going to be a charter member of Afterburners. 34 years this man has given to making this an amazing club for so many people. Mr. Tom Brents, are you here with us? Tom?
I am here, and I have received much more from the club than I've ever gave.
Ah, that's very kind. That's nice. For a second, I thought I was like having a seance. Tom, are you here? Move some furniture if you're here. That's great. Thank you, Tom. Looking sharp, sir. Mr. Tom Brentz. His speech is going to be Presentation Mastery Level 3, Storytelling. I'll be home for Christmas, Tom Brentz. I'll be home for Christmas, Tom Brentz.
I'll be home for Christmas. That's the title of a song. That's also the promise that I gave my parents many years ago. Let me explain the situation. When I left college and my studies to go to my first job in Los Angeles, California, I took my wife and 2 boys from a little college town of 13,000 to that big city. Naturally, we got a little homesick, but we adjusted. And we had our first 2 Christmases in Los Angeles. But as the 3rd Christmas was coming up, we said, we're going back home to Texas for Christmas. I couldn't afford airline tickets for my wife and my 2 little boys, but I could buy tickets on the train and the coach. A neighbor took us down to the Los Angeles train station, and there was a very heavy crowd. Everybody else had the same idea of going home for Christmas. We kind of worked our way through the crowd, and it was difficult. I'm carrying suitcases and my youngest boy. My wife is carrying some presents, and the oldest boy. A young soldier volunteered to carry my oldest boy. My wife gave him to her. And we work our way. They would open the doors to the train ever so often and let a few people through, and then they would close the door. And this process went on several times. We're working our way closer to the doors. We finally get there, almost there. The doors open, there's a rush of people. My wife and the soldier disappear, but before I can step through the door, they shut. I say, oh well, doors will open again, and I'll join my family. A few minutes later, they announce the train has pulled out of the station. Wow, what to do? I wasn't the only person in this situation. There were about 50 other people that had tickets on that train that were left at the station. I lead that group up to the station master's office to see what can be done. Station master says very little. I could put your wife and son off 50 miles down the line, but I had no way to retrieve them, so that wasn't feasible. He says, you'll just have to go on and meet them someplace down the way. There is a train that's leaving in 3 hours, a very slow train, but it will get you to where you will change planes in Phoenix, Arizona. 3 hours later, we take that train with my youngest son, and I go through the night worrying about my wife. What's her situation? Has she found the soldier with my oldest boy? Also, I had all the money. What is she going to do for money for breakfast? How will she feed my son? I continue nursing these worries all through the night and into the next day. Finally, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we pull into Phoenix. And there is my wife standing at the station with a policeman next to her. I get out, we embrace. My wife explains what her situation had been. She had had to beg, panhandle money to feed her and my oldest son. Well, word got to the Phoenix police, and they thought this might be pretty suspicious behavior. They had an ordinance against panhandling. The policeman came down, she explained her story, and the policeman said, well, I'll just stay here and keep an eye on you. But we were united again. We managed to get on the connecting train and went on to Dallas, Texas. We had a wonderful Christmas with the family. But then it was time to return to Los Angeles. We get to the train. We have no trouble boarding this time. And we're sitting there. And we sit there. And we sit there. The train is not moving. Apparently, they had decided to delay departure of the train so that they could connect with some other trains that were coming in that were being delayed by snow. Okay. We finally get underway and we reach where we make a connection in El Paso and go from El Paso to Los Angeles. We find there's no connecting train there. It seems like the connecting train had all left on schedule. It did not wait for us. Train company rose to the occasion. We'll hire a bus for you. They found a bus and they shoved all of us in there, that cramped, dirty, dark bus. And we started on our 1,000-mile journey to Los Angeles. We had made a couple stops along the way. One of them, we phoned our friend and said, we're coming into the train station, but we're going to be on a bus. When she drives to the train station, she's a little early. Train station management says, a bus coming here? No, this is a train station. Lady, go to the bus station. So she goes to the bus station and we are not there, obviously. Then we call my wife, we call our friend again and tell her we really are at the train station. She arrives and picks us up. And that is the end of our Christmas journey. People have asked, would I do it again? And all I can say is, I've had a lot of Christmases, but this is the one that stands out in my mind. Mr. Toastmaster.
Wow. Prince, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you not just for tonight, but thank you for the years that you have given to Afterburners and inspired me to be a better Toastmaster. Thank you, Tom. My lights are on. That means I got an idea. So I've had actually two ideas. The first is to show you one of the great things about Texas. Of course, we've got hats, but not my hat. But if you look at our VPE Rose Timmons, now that's a sharp looking hat. But I went for the other end. First of all, this is Megan Valley. This is one of my students.
Hello.
She's going to be my lighting person and my camera person. So I've asked her to go ahead and show you. I've worn, just for this meeting, the Texas.
All right.
All right, yeehaw!
Yes, sir. That's one of the great things about being in Texas. Rain or shine, I got boots on. It's out of that or Tevas, right? So the second thing I'd like to do right now is to spotlight our great division director here in District 25, Division A, Ms. Lola Stone.
Let's see, where's the mute now?
Ms. Stone, are you there? Move a piece of furniture or throw a vase if you are.
I'm here. Hi, Percy.
Thanks for being with us, Lola, and thanks for always being so incredibly supportive. We appreciate you here at Afterburners. We appreciate everything you do to support our members and to support all the crazy ideas that we come up with. Thanks for being here, and thanks for helping us get onto this worldwide stage.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much for doing this. I love your club. You all are wonderful. You have wonderful ideas.
Fantastic. We are now going to move on to that part of the meeting which is either very scary or very fun, depending on which side of the fence you're on. It's time for table topics. And to lead our table topics tonight is our table topics master, Ms. Laura Stewart. Laura?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, and what a wonderful meeting we've had so far. I'm so grateful for the members that we have here in Afterburners, that we can always count on those wonderful speeches giving us such great insights about our humanity, and it just brings us all closer together. And welcome to all of you who are participating with our meeting here today. As we were talking about table topics and our holiday traditions, one thing I knew I could count on was the age-old Charles Dickens novel, A Christmas Carol, for that does bring us that true spirit of Christmas. And it's a timeless piece because those things never change. And what was important about that? It was the messages from the ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of Christmas present, and of course, the ghost of Christmas future. So those are some of the 3 questions that I'll be focusing on, but some of our Afterburners members that I'll call on have a table topics question for themselves, and we're gonna blast with that. My most favorite one of all of them is the ghost of Christmas past. That was my most favorite memories. Of course, I had the most dynamic childhood, and I bought into Santa Claus like nobody else. What a great time it was to live in Texas at Christmas, because rarely was there any snow, and we could ride our bicycles or play with our roller skates or get out there with our balls and all kinds of equipment instead of being inside a home on Christmas Day. But I don't want to negate the thrill that all of you had up in snowbound land. You got skis and sleds and things like that. It was always great. Favorite thing was Christmas morning. And once I got old enough to know who Santa Claus really was, I was incorporated with my parents to be the Santa Claus for my younger brothers and sisters. And what delight we had creating a special thing of Santa Claus coming down a chimney and placing presents underneath the tree. And we would find them all Christmas morning, bright and early. My dad had 6 children, and in 58, he had 3 bicycles and 2 tricycles to put together all in one night. And he couldn't begin until we got home from midnight mass. Just barely got into the bed when it was, Daddy, come look what we got for Christmas. And we can remember my dad being really, really grumpy Christmas morning. Little did we know it was because he was up all night assembling all kinds of toys. My first question goes to one of our Afterburners members, our Vice President, Public Relations, Miss Phyllis Christian Daniels. Phyllis, please describe your most favorite memory of your Christmas past.
Thank you, Laura. Just listening to your story reminded me a lot of how I grew up as well. It's funny that you said, you know, that your dad put together all of these bicycles and tricycles and all of that. Christmas was always exciting for me as a kid, and it still is now, but more so as a kid, because I think, well, I know for a fact that is when the foundation is actually set for us to carry it on to today. So what I liked the most was the cartoons, of course, Charlie Brown Christmas, all of the other cartoons that came on. And what I liked more about the family part of it was that one time when we all came together, all 8 of my siblings, all 7 or all 8 of us together, and we really had to just sit in one room and be contained and obedient. And we would just sit in awe of what we were going to get. And my mom would have it all, she had it all just wrapped up, and she had it all planned out. And my dad would, you know, make provision for her to get whatever it was that we wanted. But the thing that really just took me by surprise is that every year, everybody got new bikes. What did we do with the bikes before that? Did we just break them? And then every year we just got new bikes. And then we started like believing that there really was a Santa Claus. And like you said, we would go to bed early. We would put the cookies and milk out. And then the next morning we wake up, there's all these presents under the tree. And as I got older too, I would be the one to start wrapping the presents and all that good stuff. But Christmas was always about love to me, about how important it was to have family and to be able to share gifts as an expression of love. So with that said, that would be my answer. It was just the love that comes with Christmas. Thank you, Madam President Laura.
Great job, Phyllis.
What a great response, Phyllis. I know. And because you won the lottery for the Afterburners, you get to ask the next table topics question, and you can call on someone of your choice. So I give it to you back, Miss Phyllis.
Okay. We all know that along with the presents and all of the Christmas movies and all of that good stuff, one of the major things, one of the other major things that makes Christmas what it is the songs, the music, the carols, and all of that good stuff. So I am going to call on James. James is like your very interesting person, District 30. I'm going to ask you, what is your favorite song and your favorite Christmas song? And if you could sing me just one small verse of it.
Well, my favorite. This is quite close. My favorite Christmas song is probably "Oh Holy Night." I think at the very beginning of this whole 24-hour thing, this 12 different places, someone had mentioned Mariah Carey. "All I Want for Christmas Is You." That's a good one too. But I think "Oh Holy Night" is probably my favorite. So here goes my best "Oh Holy Night" in the best Queen's English here. I only remember the chorus, I think. Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the hum of our dear Savior's birth. Something like that.
Woo! Hey, that's
awesome.
Great.
James,
I am gonna hoot for you. Way to go, buddy.
James, you did the thing. You did that. So now, Laura, what happens?
Well, thank you. What a great question, and brought out the bravado of Mr. James. James, I love it. That's one of my favorite carols.
It's beautiful. I love it.
We lost you.
She is muted right now.
I've been muted, so I'm sorry. I'm kind of insufficient. Love the Christmas Carol, James. It was great. My mother was a pianist, so of course we all got to sit around the piano and sing and sing and sing Christmas carols. That's one of my most favorite memories of Christmas as well. And I remember that smell of tangerines because those were in our Christmas stockings. We didn't get tangerines very often, but when you could smell it, you knew that Santa Claus had come to your house. But now we want to move into the Christmas present. This is a different year for all of us, especially here in the United States with the pandemic. We're being cautioned that we can't make those travel plans over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go. Those things are kind of hard, but thank goodness that we have this Zoom link where I can connect with over 130 Toastmasters across this planet. Thank you for being here with me and sharing the spirit of Christmas. But what is it about we could do to make it happy this Christmas? My question will go to our Division Aid Director, Lola Stone. Lola, what are some of the things that you are going to do to preserve the traditions of this Christmas present?
That's a great question, Laura. This year with COVID and social distancing, it's definitely very different. We've got to think creatively on what we can do. We can't meet with our families physically, but we can use Zoom and we can do games. One new game that I discovered is called Kahoot, and that's where you can compete with your family members. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be playing Kahoots, see who's the fastest, because our family, that's what we used to play when I was growing up, was board games. And it's what I play with my children is board games, and we still continue that tradition. So playing Kahoots is going to be what I want to do to preserve it, along with our favorite foods. We won't get to have a dinner, but we can at least see what everyone else is eating. It may be kind of funny seeing people eat on Zoom, but if it's your family members, it's okay. And it'll feel like, even though we're not at the same table, that we are still sharing a meal, breaking bread, giving a blessing for our holiday traditions. So that's what I'm going to do this year. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Lola. What a perfect response. Because yes, we can't get along without our food, our special food traditions. Thank you for that response. And as a close friend of Afterburners, you got the lottery too. You ask a question to whomever you would like. So it's
okay.
Yours.
All right. Well, this question goes to Marek. I'm not too sure how to pronounce it. Kaminsky. I saw that he would like to participate in the chat. So is Marek Kaminsky?
Marek, it's Marek. So you're close to perfection, Marek.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so, all right. So Christmas time, especially here in Texas and probably around the world, is the time that we feel compassion, as our first speaker talked about. And so there are ways that we can help people that are less fortunate than us. What is one thing that you can do this Christmas to help someone?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master, for this question. You know, it can be difficult situation, as there are many people who are in this need of help. However, I know what I could do is to help someone by even simple donation for a good charity, or for someone helpful. Like, for example, it might sound silly for you, but one of the pubs in Wrocław, which was the hosting place of improv comedy classes and improv comedy shows, is now struggling because in Poland we have we have right now variation of second lockdown, and they were gaining money to pay the rent for this place. So I donated and I shared the news for people to help. For something more related to the standard known charity, I can give some money in church. I can help someone with good words. With when I'm going to Holy Mass on 6 p.m. Polish time, more often I help ladies selling candles from Caritas organization to put them later on, unsold candles, in the box, transfer them into closed door, after closed door, and put the table and help them by basically putting it so that they won't have to put this table. I can donate like a little part of money to some people on the streets. However, I'm very careful for that because I unfortunately met many people who were basically cheaters, who are using our kindness, our good will to basically have sort of salary for themselves. So that is, I'd rather get a sandwich than money on the streets. Like I said, there are various opportunities, and I believe right now in my current situation, because it's not easy this year, I lost my job on February, I got divorced on June. So all I can do right now is do good deed for myself and my mom to clean up my mess in the shared apartment, and to help my mom with cooking, with cleaning the room, etc., etc., and to smile on these uneasy times, and maybe watch Home Alone, because this is our Polish tradition. You might not know about that, but in Polsat television has this issue that they're putting Home Alone almost every year, or every year. So various opportunities. Thank you for the great question, Lola.
Thank you, Marique. That was great. I love how you brought in the special tradition of all of the Christmas movies. We haven't really touched on them, but Home Alone is certainly one of mine, as well as Christmas Vacation. But what a perfect thing to ask you about the Christmas present, Marique, because you're having a hard time, and we're hoping that the spirit is aroused in all of you today as we talk about the special things of Christmas, renews your spirit, and you feel the love that we all have for you in this time. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
now I want to go to Texas Bill as we move to the ghost of the Christmas future. Remember, it was in the movie and the books, especially, it was the things of what his future would look like if he had stayed as the same old Scrooge that he always was. So my question to you, Texas Bill, what traditions or things would you like to see preserved and enacted through your own descendants? Mr. Bill.
That is a very good question, Madam President. I've created some new traditions. One of the things, Tom, you might need to mute your computer, your speakers. One of the things I've learned is that Zoom can cover large distances. And one time I put myself and my family at risk to make it to Oklahoma City. And by the time I got there, it had turned from a snowfall to 14 inches as I got stuck in the parking lot of the nursing home. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to implement a Zoom. I know we're tired of Zoom. I'm going to try to implement Zoom, and that could be the chair at the table, that at the head of the table, where you have a family member who you want to be involved in the Christmas. That's one thing we've learned. We didn't have this option when I was, when my mom was still around. And last year, almost a year ago, my sister passed. I didn't have a way to connect with her video and see her. So I would like to be able to at least see my family members and talk to them while we're having some kind of Christmas dinner. Of course, we'll be all together, everybody that can be, but it'll be nice to have that option, and everybody will understand how to include that option from now on, because we've all got a crash course in how that works. Now, let me see, do I need to ask somebody a question, or how are we good on time?
We're good on time. You can ask a question.
All right, in that case, I'm gonna ask, let's see, whoever shows up on my timeline first. I'll just put Colt Cash, because that name's stuck in my mind. Colt, be prepared to unmute and answer this question. When you were young, tell me a present that you never thought you would get, but you were just so pleasantly surprised that showed up under the tree. Or if you don't celebrate Christmas, any present that was unexpected.
Thank you, Bill. Toastmasters around the world. Remember certain toys I got as a kid were maybe popular at the time. Enjoyed getting those little race tracks that you piece together. So those miniature cars going around. That was always fun.
Yeah,
one that was popular at the time, and I certainly wasn't the first to get it, was the original Nintendo. But eventually it came. And although there were a lot of upgraded versions after that I got as well, I'd wished that I'd kept the original one, because it wasn't so much about reality in those games, but they were just fun. For example, I loved playing Blades of Steel, hockey game where, if you haven't played it, there's one bit, if there's a fight that breaks out, then only the losing player goes to the penalty box. Fun, something fun and different in that game. Overall, it was always fun around Christmas time, especially as a kid, never knowing for sure what I'll get. Since I was always appreciative, it always made it fun. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Colt. And as you can tell, I am celebrating Christmas present with my new blinged up Christmas mask of all of my Toastmasters pins. Fabulous, fabulous, as it's very hot. I want to ask two more questions if it has time. And I want to ask this of Susan Minsky, who specially requested to be on Table Topics. Susan, tell us about your favorite Christmas gift.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. As a kid, I didn't celebrate Christmas a whole lot because my parents were very limited with money and my mom was a Jehovah's Witness. Fast forward to 2012, I had met my husband and we were living in West Virginia at the time. I had just been diagnosed with cancer for the second time and had to undergo emergency surgery to save my life. A couple of days before Christmas Eve, he brought home this Christmas ornament. Now keep in mind, we had no tree. So I'm looking at him like, why in the world did you bring home this bright orange, ugly as sin ornament? And it was because we had just went through the cancer treatment, the cancer surgery of me having a miscarriage. And he wanted to do something nice. He knew about my past, that I didn't celebrate Christmas. And he just was very sweet in that one moment. That was 8 years ago. Since then, we have moved from West Virginia out here to Denver, where it is snowing at the moment, not as bad as what it was yesterday and last night, but it's still cold out. I do miss the South. I do miss Texas because the South is home. But for me personally, that one bright orange, tacky Christmas ornament was the best gift that he could have ever given me. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, Susan, and God's blessings to you for your health. And thank you for sharing some things that are very vulnerable about you that brings us all closer together. And I know I just have one more minute, but I want to extend that table topic to another one who asked to participate, and his name is Todd Gasian. Todd, please tell us what Christmas really means to you.
Madam Table Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters, and friends from around the world. Christmas means family and friends. So, to answer your question, by being at this meeting, We're celebrating Christmas because we're with family and friends. And you know, friends are the family we choose. Family is the family we get. And isn't it great to be able to spend 24 hours with those we choose to be with in uplifting, supportive, and encouraging situations? And I think this day has been just a marvelous gift to all those who have been on it. And I want to thank and gratitude and spotlight and show the spirit to all of those who worked behind the scenes to make this possible. Zoom masters, ninjas, and angels, you are a blessing to your districts. Keep sharing the wealth and the knowledge, and have a great, safe season. Talk to you later. Thanks, Madam Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Todd. And how poetic that we left it with the great words from Todd, because he has conveyed it exactly how I feel. It is the spirit of Christmas, and it is regenerated through meetings like this. Isn't it great that we can meet on Zoom and connect like this? Just love it. But this ends my opportunity as Table Topics Master. So I now hand it back to our Mr. Toastmaster, now General Evaluator, Mr. Furzy Gotwako.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. I've been attending these meetings for a greater part of the evening and day. I've had an opportunity to join Japan, China, Malaysia, Ireland, Vancouver, Canada. And I'm telling you, one of the coolest things is how we all have similar structures, which of course come to evaluations. So let's get to that part of our meeting where we can look at some ways to improve. Our first evaluator, evaluating Speaker Jim Hummel, is going to be DTM Antoinette Silas. Antoinette, are you there with us?
Yes, Mr. General Evaluator. Thank you very much.
Go ahead, please.
Oh, I was looking for Setma. Okay, Jim, I see you there. The name of your story was Compassion. And oh boy, did you bring it, compassion. I felt it. The purpose of your speech, it was to inspire the audience, and I think you knocked it out the park. You are a phenomenal storyteller, and you are very inspiring. And as you were giving your speech, I was looking around, I guess, at the 130 guests at the time in these Hollywood square boxes that we now call Zoom. I was looking to see if you managed just to capture everyone's attention. You engaged the audience with an exemplary, well-constructed content. I think your topic, it was highly inspiring to me, especially when you talked about the little baby and the kids who wanted to keep the baby and the dad agreeing. Your comfort level, it was, to me, spot on. You were completely self-assured with the audience. Jim, you were very descriptive, especially when you talked about the young lad that was in a haunted house and you describing the baby, the matted hair, the unshaped head. I felt I was there right along with you. So great descriptions. You had great vocal variety, especially when you were talking about the baby, the little kids, you know how little kids, wah, 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 wah. You sounded just like them. Good job on that. And I thought your speech, it was just so apropos, especially for this meeting, because it's a global meeting. And no matter where you are in this globe, everyone understands compassion. Maybe in your, on this evaluation, it says what you may want to work on or to challenge yourself. I think that's one of the same. The only thing I could really think of as far as challenging yourself, you already was standing up. Maybe if you could have stood back a little bit further so we can see those, we could have seen those grand gestures that you had, because I saw that you did have some hand movements, but I didn't quite, you know, the Hollywood boss cut you off. That may have captured the audience even more than what you did, but I thought you did an excellent job on that. a good job on being descriptive. You had great content. Maybe work on these big hand gestures that you can pull us all in. And the compassion, it lives in my heart as well, Jim. Good job. Thanks a lot, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Antoinette Silas. Our second evaluator, part of our club, but coming to us all the way from Beijing, China, is going to be Tia Moen, evaluating Tom Brents. Tia.
Thank you for this opportunity and good morning from Beijing. It's so fabulous to see all my Texanites living it up with their cowboy boots and their Christmas hats and probably shorts because I imagine it's warmer out there. It's supposed to be 11 degrees Fahrenheit this morning as I walk to school. How do I honor Mr. Tom Brents? I'm going to call him Papa Brents. That's how I'm going to start. He's been with us for 35 years of Toastmasters, of sharing his stories, sharing his evaluations, taking us under his wing, welcoming us. It is an honor that I've been asked to evaluate Papa Brents today. I am going to start here. I'm going to set the scene. Right now, we are celebrating holidays all over the world. So imagine, if you will, all of us, and there's a fireplace, and it's burning and it's warm, and we can feel the fire. And imagine the cookies that are sitting on a plate in front of us, and they're the Christmas cookies we just baked yesterday. Imagine soft Christmas music playing in the background. Now, imagine Papa Brent's coming into the room and having a seat in his big recliner, leaning in and telling us a story. That's how I felt listening to Papa Brents today, telling us a story. It was fantastic. I was drawn in. I felt like I needed to sit at his knee and look up and I listened to every word. I wanted to know what was going to happen next. Probably because I have been in those situations, racing across the airport to make my connecting flights, trying to see if I'm going to make the train on time. Connections. We connected to his world. You brought the story to life. We could just see what was happening. Another thing, his inflection, his voice, it drew us in, not because it was great and grand, but it was because he spoke to us. Even in this Hollywood Square world, he spoke to us. And I can see him leaning in every now and then on his chair. I can see him leaning back every now and then, recalling that next memory to connect. As we were there at his knee, what happened next? Did he make the train? Did his family eat? Fabulous. Another thing. Normally, I would say to my speaker, I want you to be up and moving around. No, not this time. You kind of made it work sitting in your chair. It was like you were supposed to be there. It was a story, and you're mastering storytelling right now. So I think you did it just right. Maybe if the camera was back a little bit further so we can see the comfort. I enjoyed that. How do we improve such a great speech? Oh, story. Here's my challenge. Let's see. A reddish hat with a fur trim, maybe a red coat, fur trimmed, maybe a dash of blush on the nose as well, maybe a beard. Yes, maybe improvements like that would draw us into the story even more. But as you know, Papa Brents did a fantastic job telling us his story, making us feel involved. He brought it to life. He had great inflection. And it was comforting. It was comforting to listen, even though sometimes we were, oh no, what happened next? We were just comfortable listening. Thank you, Papa Brents, for allowing us to join in on this story around the fireplace. Merry Christmas to all. I hope everybody's having a wonderful holiday. Back to you,
Thank
Madam
you, Tia
Toastmaster,
Moen.
or Master.
Thank you, Tia Moen and Antoinette Silas. Great evaluations, and I appreciate how you attended to the personalities, the efforts, the spirit, and the heart of our speakers. We're a little short on time, so we're going to jump straight to our listener role. Arthi, have we got a couple of questions to test the listening skills of our audience? What have you got for us?
Yes, sir, Toastmaster. Now it's time to test the connection of all of your spirits to the Toastmaster meeting. So the first question is, where was Jim sent during his 20s?
Los Angeles.
Where was Jim sent during his
Korea.
20s?
South Korea.
To Korea.
Korea.
Yes, that's right. The next question is, where did Tom get his first job?
Los Angeles.
Angeles.
That's perfect. And the last question is, what is James's favorite song, favorite Christmas song?
Oh, holy night.
Oh, holy night.
Holy night.
Perfect. Great listening skills. To you, Sir Toastmaster.
Thank you, Madam Listener. Well done, Arthi. Well done. Before I hand it over to my president for the official gavel handoff, I'd like to thank all of the Afterburner Club members who came and supported us today. I want to thank all our guests who came and saw what Afterburner is all about, including our singing of Oh Holy Night. Nice job, sir. Well done. Well done. And thank you to Michael Baum. I keep wanting to say Brown. I'm so sorry, Michael. Baum, thank you for putting this all together. We all appreciate what you've done to bring the Toastmasters world together. Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. And what a pleasure it has been this hour that went by just way too quickly. When we said this meeting would be deep from the heart of Texans, we meant it. This is our heart, and all of that great spirit comes out in all of us. And then we were so grateful that it becomes so contagious that it all involved you. We'd love for you to be here. Come and visit us at Afterburners. You can find us at afterburners.org. We meet on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. We welcome you there. It's my pleasure to pass this gavel to our sister club, District 29 in Hawaii. I don't know if they're here, but my landing words are Merry Christmas, y'all, and Mele Kanickinaka.